In this video, you'll discover the power of soul dialogue, and you'll find out what is the difference between surface dialogue and soul dialogue. And I'll reveal the truth about why most conversations and encounters between people are of the superficial kind, and as a result, deeply unsatisfying to our soul. I'll share 3 tips to help you communicate more deeply and powerfully so that your encounters with others and theirs with you are richly rewarding and satisfying at a deep soul level. Welcome to Well of Wisdom, where I answer your questions and share spiritual tips, tools, and techniques to inspire and uplift you on your journey of spiritual awakening, personal growth, and holistic healing. I'm Ofsoské-Wyber, with over 45 years of experience helping tens of thousands of clients and teaching students around the world. I bring the sacred wisdom of my ancient spiritual lineage forward to you. Today I'm speaking about soul dialogue and how to make your relationships and encounters with others more rewarding, satisfying, and authentic. Now, we can't think of relationships and encounters with others without thinking of communication. And there is no doubt about it, communicating with others is a core part of the human experience. There are so many ways we can communicate through speech, touch, a look, gesture, a change of facial expression, and so many ways we can convey our interest or lack of interest and depth of interest to another. And communication is something we take for granted. Our ability to communicate with others, the desire to communicate with others, with another human being is intrinsic. You know, we are hardwired to communicate from the time we are born. Just watch a baby as it responds to the world around it and seeks to communicate its needs in the only way available to it, by crying, for instance. Now, we know a baby doesn't just cry because it's hungry. It cries because it wants connection, comfort, to be acknowledged, to be related with, to. And we all want to be related to, with. But it's the type, degree, or depth of that relating that is the all-important factor. And our encounters with others can evoke within us an almost endless array of human emotions. We can feel more comfortable with some people and not with others. And communications with others can leave us feeling anything from warm and fuzzy, fulfilled, happy, content, and uplifted, to cold, empty, annoyed, frustrated, unfulfilled, angry, or resentful. And I'm sure you've had the experience of finding it easier to communicate or to be in sync, to connect, to engage more with, say, this person and not with that person. So let's look at a conversation between 2 people. Have you ever had a conversation with someone and felt as if it was a waste of time? Why did you bother? What was the point? You know, lots of words might have been said, but no real connection happened. You know, the times you've stopped to talk with someone, could be anywhere, but it's felt an encounter of the surface kind. In contrast, I'm sure you've had conversations or exchanges with others that have left you feeling uplifted and feeling at peace and feeling heard and feeling as if somebody understood or spoke to you at a very deep level. So have you ever wondered why talking with some people makes you feel heard and listened to, and why talking with others leaves you feeling empty inside? Why do some exchanges feel very superficial? And why do some encounters feel rich and fulfilling and touch us at a soul level? Well, the obvious conclusion that many people come to is that it's what you're talking about that makes the difference. That if you talk about deep, meaningful things, then you're having a deep, meaningful conversation. But talking about deep, meaningful subjects does not make an encounter rich and soulful. It isn't the subject matter that makes the encounter deep and meaningful. It's not the subject matter that defines soul dialogue or soul talk. It's who is talking. By that I mean, what part of you is present and speaking in the encounter. Now, one of the things that I always begin my workshops or retreats or events with was to ask those present to be mindful of who is talking. And what I mean by that is that to be mindful of what part of you is talking. You know, we are multifaceted, complex beings. We have many aspects of ourselves, many eyes. The two ones we're concerned with today is the personality self and the soul self. And we need to be mindful as to which part of ourselves we're relating from and what part of another we're seeking to relate to and with. Are we talking personality to personality, or are we speaking soul to soul? Are we talking to the outer person, or are we seeing past the outer person and talking to the inner person or the soul? And in other words, what part of yourself are you talking from, and what part of another are you seeking to connect with? So let's look at the difference between surface or outer talk and soul or inner talk. If we're relating from the outer self, also called the personality or false ego, then we're relating from the part of us that engages in a surface way and therefore can only do surface or superficial encounters and surface or superficial talk. So if I'm operating from this part of me, the surface outer part, then it's really all going to be about me, what I want to say, what I want to hear. I'm not necessarily going to be open to hearing anything that doesn't fit my framework, beliefs, opinions, or conditioning. I'm going to be easily triggered and reactive, and my buttons are going to be easily pushed. And my mind, my concrete mind, will shut off and shut out the other person where and when it suits. And we all know what it's like trying to connect with somebody when they're in personality me mode and they've got their personality hi-hat on. I'm sure you've all had that experience where you feel as if you're talking to a brick wall. You know, you've hit a brick wall. It's a figure of speech. We will unconsciously say, I feel I've hit a brick wall with him or her. It's like banging my head against a brick wall. And of course it is. You know, in esoteric terminology, the concrete mind is called the concrete mind. So here's a quick quiz to see if you're in surface talk mode in a conversation. Are you not really listening because you're waiting for an opportunity to say what you want to say? Or just waiting for an opportunity to prove you're right and the other person is wrong? Or marking time to get your point across, to have your 2 cents worth, to get your word in, to express your opinions, or just wanting to talk about yourself? Or find you're constantly butting heads with others when your opinions differ? Are you always conscious of the differences and not the similarities? Do opposing or different opinions upset you? After talking with someone, do you keep running the conversation over and over in your head in terms of what you should have said or could have said? Do you react emotionally or in a volatile way when somebody's opinions or what they're saying doesn't fit in with your framework? Or do you just want to take up space in a conversation? So surface talk and superficial encounters are just as the name implies. We're engaging at a surface or superficial level, talking at each other or talking past each other, outside to outside, appearance to appearance, personality to personality, encounters of the surface kind. Now, from a metaphysical perspective, no real meaningful communication or exchange really occurs here, no matter what's being said. So this type of surface relating gets very tedious after a while, and we long for that more fulfilling, deeper connection. So how do we increase the likelihood of more satisfying encounters and communications with others? Well, it's simple. The answer lies in the art of soul dialogue. Here are 3 main points to help you. 1, Soul dialogue is not defined by what you say. What you are talking about does not define the depth of the encounter. It's not the content of the conversation that matters. We could be talking about the most soulful topics with another person, but that doesn't mean we're engaging in soul dialogue. 2, soul dialogue is about talking to the soul of another person from your own soul. That means we're looking deeply, looking beyond the outer person to the inner person. To connect with the soul of another person, we need to shift the focus of who we're talking to and from where we're speaking. To not see the other person as a personality, but to see them as a soul. To be able to speak to and to be heard by the soul of another, you must first speak from your own soul. 3, have clear intent. Be clear in your own will, mind, and heart as to what part of the other person you're seeking to reach, to communicate with. And have clear intent regarding where you are talking from. It's simple. It will either be from your outer self, your personality, or from your inner self, your soul. So here's a quick checklist to see if you're talking soul to soul. What part of you is in the driver's seat? What part of you is actually talking? Personality or soul? What part of the other person are you seeking to communicate with, connect with, or talk with? See the other person as being a divine child, a growing and evolving soul on their journey of growth and evolution, and communicate with each other, not at each other. When we're firmly seated in the heart and speaking from the heart, there is no attachment and there is no judgment. Because the heart is esoterically referred to as the seat of the soul. So, put simply, soul dialogue, we're talking, connecting with another from our soul self, so that the soul of the person we are speaking with is able to hear us. It's not just their ears hearing us, listening to us, it's can they hear us here? When we connect with another person from our soul, another person can feel it and sense it, and something deep within them will respond to it. And when that happens, another level of dialogue and conversation and communication can take place, regardless of what's being said or conveyed verbally. Soul dialogue enables us to connect or reconnect with a member or members of our soul family. So how do we do that? We stay fully present in the moment. We're not thinking about anything else, just being fully present with another soul. We listen. We don't interrupt. We don't impose our opinions, beliefs on another. We don't project our darkness or shadow or unfulfilled desires on another. We're not aiming for a transactional relationship. We don't need anything from that person. And we say what we mean and we mean what we say. So dialogue happens when we look deep beneath surface appearances to the soul of another person. One way that my clients and students learn how to communicate through soul dialogue is through undertaking the Medicine Woman Rite of the 6 Moons program. In this online program, the students, light workers, undertake an energetic purification process that's designed to cleanse, purify, and upgrade their consciousness and increase their energetic frequency so they are able to receive higher levels of guidance, connection, and insight, as well as strengthen their connection with their soul so that they become more conscious of their soul life. Now, this purification program can be done any time of the year, but the end of the year is a particularly potent time for upgrading one's energetic frequency. I hope you've enjoyed this video on soul dialogue. And now I'd love to hear from you. If you've had any aha moments about soul dialogue, then please put them in the comments below. See you same time, same place, same channel, with so much love.